Today on Made in SA, we're hanging out with University of Pretoria student Thandkile. She lives on campus and she has a pretty high-tech dream.
My dream is to become a plant geneticist, specializing in crop development.
Genetics sounds very sci-fi.
Welcome. I'm biotech. If you're working with living organisms, you need to concentrate, you need to work very hard, and most importantly, you need to be very patient.
Passionate and super determined, Thandkile is learning everything she can about plants and she's aiming for the stars, or should I say, the roots. Today, her passion and skills will be put to the test to see if she can make it all the way. But does our future scientist have what it takes? Let's find out on Made in SA, where we celebrate young people of excellence and help them on the road to making their dream a reality.
My name is Thandkile. I am 22 years. My dream is to become a well-known plant geneticist, specializing in crop development.
Genes are teeny tiny things in all our cells that carry information. It tells us if someone will have curly or straight hair, if a plant will have red, orange or even purple flowers. This is what Thandkile wants to spend her life exploring. Pretty cool, right?
I remember one class we had while I was in matric. The class was on Mendelian genetics, which is the basics of genetics, where genetics started. I knew I'd always wanted to get into something in science, but I wasn't sure that medicine was the thing for me. So that class really showed me that there's more that you can do, more than the classical science medicine.
Who knew that plants could be studied in science? Huh. Thanks, Thandkile.
The one thing that I really love the most about studying plant genetics is the fact that you are studying things that are not visible to the eye, but you study them in such detail that you can understand what's happening in tiny, tiny, tiny little cells. I am a very passionate, driven person, a person who always goes to do whatever she has set her mind to. And I think that is some very important qualities in science, because in science you have to be driven, passionate, because things do not always go right in the lab.
Oh no! Let's hope that when things go wrong, nothing explodes. Explosions only happen to mad scientists, right? And Thandkile looks pretty normal. A normal person studying something super complex.
I really cannot think of anything else that I would do besides genetics. I really think that this is what I was meant to do.
I know Thandkile since 2006, when we were doing grade 8 together at Landulwazi in Thokoza. She is crazy. She's very serious, but then at times she's totally crazy. She told me in first year that she pranked one of her flatmates, and then she put boxes on her door. And then when she opened the door, the boxes fell on her. And she told me that the person didn't like it, but then they talked about it, ended up laughing about it because it was funny.
Hey, who said scientists can't have a little fun?
Thandkile is, like she said, she is a crazy person. I don't think I've ever met anyone who loves ice cream more than me. She celebrates everything with ice cream. She is so crazy, but she can be so serious, and she's so passionate about her work and everything that she does in life. And she's the greatest friend, and she'll go like throughout any lengths she can to make you feel special and help you with your stuff.
Well, you ladies can pop the ice cream if Thandkile passes her challenge later.
I think most people will say Thandkile doesn't have flaws. Most people think that she's the goddess of the genetics honors class.
I'm gonna go watch movies or something. I hear that there's a new movie out by this hot actor.
One thing about Thandkile is that she is very impatient. If you're working with her, you need to be on time and you need to do things right. You don't do, like, she's not patient. Like, okay, do it like this. You need to know your story when you're working with her. Otherwise, you just lose interest and like, no, you know what, I can't work with you. She's impatient. She doesn't have that thing. That's one of her flaws.
Literally the one person I know that can really make that dream come true. Like, she can get to the top. I mean, in my eyes, she's already there. She just needs someone at the top to really see her and then just to drag her along there. Because, you know, in my mind, she's already there. She's accomplished her dream. To me, Thandkile means one of those friends that you can turn to any time of the day, night. She's always there.
I think I've told her this. I'm like, you're no longer my best friend. You're more like a sister to me because she knows everything about me, family-wise. She's always there. She's a nice person. She's a sister. She's my bigger sister or my twin.
So, her best friends believe in her, but let's face it, genetics is a tough field that only the smartest, hardworking scientists can succeed in. Is Thandkile one of those people?
I think the biggest fear that I have with regards to achieving my goal might be the fact that I'm not a very patient person, so that might have influenced my interactions with other people. In research, you need to be able to work well with other people.
Oh no, Thandkile is not patient at all. There might be some trouble ahead.
And also, I'm not sure that I've had the correct guidance and have been open to all the various departments that are in the field of genetics for me to make the correct decisions.
I believe that there are various types of students that come into the program, and in my mind, Thandkile is an exceptional student. She's displayed a real sense of maturity, and she's made her project her own, which is something a lot of students take a while to do. And coming into an honors program, a lot of students are afraid to really try new things. And I was impressed with Thandkile. She was able to do the troubleshooting. She did a lot of the research on her own. She was self-motivated. I really appreciate Thandkile's ability to learn. She's got a very teachable spirit, and I think that is something that takes students far into their careers if they have that kind of spirit.
I think it's important to follow your dream, wanting to pursue it as a career. It would make your life very easy when you have to wake up in the morning and go to work, because it's your passion, it's what you really love, it's not just a paycheck at the end of the month. The kind of subjects that you would need to study genetics at school would be life sciences, physical sciences, and then English, a home language, as well as other additional subjects like computer applications technology.
Thandkile is rocking it at varsity, but how will she find the real world?
I'm feeling really excited, and my expectations are really high because this is like CSIR. Yeah.
We have been spending time with Thandkile at Pretoria Varsity, but let's go! It's time for her to meet her Made in SA coach.
My name is Dr. Eric Chakawia. I'm a plant scientist at the CSIR in the group of Bioindustry Development Center. In biotech, you basically need to be quite patient. If you're working with living organisms, you really need to concentrate, you need to work very hard, and most importantly, you need to be very patient. What I love about my job is, as a plant scientist, I learn how plants interact with animals, how they interact with humans, and also there is the food production aspect, because plant scientists are those that have to produce food for the nation, for people to live. There's food shortages, so it's up to us plant scientists to come up with ways of producing more food to feed the people. The biggest misconception is that most kids don't realize when you're cooking, it's more like you're doing science. When you're watering your plants, you are doing science. When you're putting fertilizer on your plants, you are basically doing plant science. That's what we look at. So we look at how do you make the plant grow faster, or how can you make things that you can sell from the plants. That's what plant scientists do.
The CSIR is a place that I would definitely like to work at one day. If today doesn't really meet up with my expectations, to me that will still give me some information whether this is for me or it's not for me.
Hello, Thandkile. Welcome. I'm Dr. Eric Chakawia. Welcome to the CSIR. Thank you. Come through to the lab.
Today, Thandkile has left the comfort of a university lab to see if she can help real-life scientists solve a genetics conflict. With the help of our Made in SA coach, Dr. Chakawia, she'll be working in a lab she's never been in before. She'll have to find her way around fast to give her a better chance of succeeding in her challenge.
You need to put on a lab coat. It's part of the health and safety for the lab. So we have a number of projects and including from a plant perspective, which is what you are interested in. We do work on using plants to make proteins. It's called plant biofarming. We also look at food production. We look at food science, food quality.
So the proteins that you guys make in plants, what sort of applications do they have?
The current projects we are working on is to make vaccines for animals. Because as you know, in the country we have a problem with disease outbreaks for our livestock, for cattle, for goats, for sheep. We also have other projects on HIV, making molecules like microbicides using plants. We're just basically trying to get cheaper ways of making products so that at least they can be affordable on the market. Let's get to the challenge. I will explain what it's all about. So I printed 2 papers. So the challenge is we took a real case scenario. Basically, you have 3 companies that are producing seed maize. And there is a challenge that one of the companies think somebody stole their seed and then they sold it to another company. So they approach you as a manager for a lab, seed testing lab. And they have a very limited budget. So what they want you to do is to check if the claim that somebody stole the seed has got merit.
Welcome back to Made in SA, the show that celebrates Mzansi's youngest and freshest go-getters. Earlier we met the crazy but driven varsity student Thandkile, who dreams of taking the science world by storm in the field of genetics. In today's challenge, Thandkile will have to think like a scientist and a detective. She'll have to find clues to see if seeds were stolen from another lab. But where do you start?
So the experiment you are going to do is to give that preliminary data. So what you do is you amplify the DNA and then you digest the DNA and then you look at the profile. Then see if those samples, if there are any 2 that are related. It's not difficult, is it?
Interesting.
Interesting. Okay, good.
It might be interesting, but she looks worried.
So the first thing you have to do is to put the samples on ice.
The restriction enzyme should also go on ice, right?
Yeah, it should be on ice.
Wow, that sounds complicated. So the clues that Thandkile is looking for are in the DNA of the seeds. DNA is the unique signature found in everything, similar to a fingerprint. To prove if the seeds were stolen or not, we have to see if the DNA of each seed matches. Thandkile will have to use a special liquid to draw out the DNA from the cells of each seed. But will she have the patience to wait this out?
I think you are ready to go. I will leave you to it and good luck.
Thank you.
My first impression with Thandkile is she's quite brilliant. She likes to get the facts first, which is one of the first steps in being a good scientist. You need to get your basics right. And she's quite confident as well, quite brilliant.
Very exciting. I think that how this technology that I've learned about is applicable in the real world is quite very interesting. I think I'm gonna do really well in the challenge, and I think I'll be very impressed with the work that I'll be doing here today.
Self-confidence is a good thing, but will it pay off? So far, so good. Thandkile's gliding through the lab like it's her own bedroom, but looks can be deceiving.
What I think she'll find difficult is interpreting the results or trying to get information out of the experimental results that she'll get. Because that's putting everything together. It's part of the challenge.
You know, you can't see your DNA with eyes, so the experiment that I'm running, incubating, let's see how many minutes left. 6 minutes left. So in order for us to visualize it, we must use this gel. The gel, it's called an agarose gel. So it's a matrix of pores, like small little pores. So as the DNA travels through, the smaller it is, the more easier it can travel through the gel.
This test is what will help Thandkile get to the bottom of the investigation. Each seed should have its own fingerprint or DNA, and if any two are the same, then one is definitely stolen. The special gel she's using will help make the seed's fingerprint visible to our eyes. With the help of an electrical current, the DNA will now move through the gel to create a picture of its identity. And DNA can take its sweet time to get anywhere, something Thandkile is not excited about.
Sorry, I need a comb. Do you guys keep combs somewhere around here?
I think it's there. What kind of comb?
Sorry, it's here.
Cool. Sure.
Sure, thanks.
Oops! Thandkile's rush to get everything done is making her overlook things.
I think the distance for migration, I think, is very short. There are some bands here. You see, they're not really clear.
Do you think I should run it for longer and
Yes, probably another 30 minutes
at a higher speed?
At 100 voltage.
Okay.
But I recommend you run it further.
There's no shortcut to getting to the bottom of this mystery, Thandkile. Back to the lab.
I've just viewed my gel. Connie thinks that I can run it a bit longer so that the bands can separate more out.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good idea.
It's not gonna be a disaster, is it?
No, you're going to be fine.
Lucky she has a chance to fix things. Let's see if she can get it right this time. She's given it more time so the DNA can better travel through the gel to give Thandkile a more detailed picture of what it looks like. The moment of truth is here. Remember, if the two samples are identical, that means one of the companies nicked the other's seeds. Not cool, dudes. Somebody might be getting arrested. CSI style, of course.
Doctor,
Hello, Thandkile.
I'm done.
Okay, good. How did it go?
From my results, I can see that none of the seed stocks are the same, according to these results, because none of them have the same DNA fingerprint.
What do you think we can conclude?
We can conclude that this other company that's accusing the other company of stealing their seed stock is not telling the truth. Because if that was the case, we would expect the seed stock of this company accusing the other company to be the same as this company's DNA fingerprint, but it's two different seed stocks.
Good. I think that's good.
The challenge for me was difficult. The new lab, not knowing where, what is, how the specific machine in that lab works.
Still, nice work, Detective Scientist Thandkile.
I was not that nervous doing the whole experiment, seeing that the doctor took me step by step through it before I started to get me at ease. So the challenge went well and I was not nervous at all. Having to ask people for help was not something new because at school, when you are a new honors student from undergraduate, you tend to ask people, senior postgrad students who have been doing lab work for a long time. The only thing I was nervous about was making sure that I do the experiment really well, seeing that this is an institution I'd really love to be part of. So that put a bit of pressure on me to make sure that everything is perfect.
So my observations, when she started, she was a bit tense, which is expected. But as time went on, she was comfortable in her own space, especially in the lab. She was very comfortable in the lab, and that's really good. And it also shows, in terms of her training, she has had very good background. I see a bright future for her because she has got attention to detail, which is good, and she can synthesize things. So she can go through an experiment and then come up with conclusions. And she also liked the details. She asks questions as well, because that's usually one of the challenges that we have in training students. They can only answer questions, they cannot ask questions. So she asks questions, which is brilliant.
This challenge helped me to come closer to my dream by bringing me into contact with the right people, as I've learned that in some cases you'd need to be in contact with the correct people for you to be able to advance a step further in your career.
That's what we like to hear. Reach for the stars, Thandkile. Or should I say the roots?